Once upon a time there were two brothers, Johnny and David, who had inherited their beloved family home. When David got a job abroad, the brothers agreed that Johnny would continue living in their family home and would always keep David's room available for his occasional visits. In the meantime, Johnny kept up the house, fixing things that needed fixing, dealing with things that needed to be dealt with, while David would send money to cover his half of the costs. One day, many years later, David came for a long visit. Johnny was delighted. They were together again in their home, if only for a short time. Except things had changed. Since David's last visit, Johnny had become more religiously observant, and now the whole kitchen had separate meat and milk. There were 2 ovens, 2 sinks, and different cutlery and plates for meat and for milk. David didn't have a problem with religion per se, but it was kind of irritating having to suddenly be careful about what food he brought in to what was, after all, his house too. More troubling was the garden outside. It had once been an open grassy area which all the neighbourhood houses backed onto. All the kids would play together in its weeds and puddles. But now the garden was a beautiful green lawn, trimmed and carefully cultivated with flowers round the edges, all completely fenced in. "What's the fence for?" wailed David when he first saw it. "It was so wonderful when everything was open to all the neighbours." "Yes," acknowledged Johnny, "but the neighbours are different now. I know we were friends with them when we were kids, but it's their children who live there now, and they are monsters. There have been break-ins and vandalism. There was no choice but to put up the fences. And besides," he said, gesturing proudly, "isn't it beautiful now?" David was thoroughly unimpressed. "What is your problem?" Johnny exploded. "You've been away for years while I've dealt with everything in this house. What right do you have to criticise?" "Because it's my house too." "But I live here, all the time. You don't like the way I do things here? Come back and move in permanently. Then we can talk about our house." "The more time I spend in your house, the less I want anything to do with it," shot back David. The huge argument had only just begun.